PPT is moving.
Yes,
My voice is clear. Clarity is there.
yes, so it is clear.
Okay. Thanks. First of all, thanks to ICSI IIP for giving me an opportunity to discuss about the transition procedures. Because here, even in a new amendment also, whoever is handling, particularly the CIRP, if the case is shifted to liquidation, then another resolution professional to be acted as a liquidator. So in that case, you have to hand over all your documents to the liquidator. And once you are appointed as an IRP, and after that, if the financial creditor or COC taken a decision to shift or to give another person as an RP instead of the IRP, then the IRP has to hand over all the documents to the new RP. Sometimes the adjudicating authority or COC not like that resolution profession on account of his duties or delay process, all these things. Sometimes the adjudicating authority also not happy with the RP. Then he will inform to the IBBA to change that the RP to a new RP. So these are the various situations. And today the financial creditors are also they are always thinking about the best RPs to complete the resolution plan at the earliest without any issues or problems. So this transition is always be there. IRP to RP, RP to RP, RP, old RP to new RP, or RP to the liquidator in case the liquidatory, the CIRP is closed without any resolution plan or adjudicating authority order for liquidation, then the liquidator is a new person. So whenever the transition is happening, you have to tell the total story to the who is taking over the case. You are handing over the case and he is taking over the case. So this handing over and taking over is in the coming days, it may increase also. Even financial creditors, sometimes they are giving to the new persons. If at all the new persons are not handling properly or complaints are originated, then this situation will arise. So, in different situations, this type of handing over and taking over, sometimes some RPs, particularly some known person also, he is not interested to continue as an RP and simply he informed the adjudicating authority as well as COC to identify a new one in that particular scenario. Not only that one, once the 70 years are crossed, some of the RPs they crossed 70 years. Once the 70 years are crossed, and whatever the existing cases, sometimes it is continuing, sometimes the adjudicating authority ask the new RP to take over that particular one or COC also. Or the remote chances is the person who died during that process, then naturally that is to be handed over to others. These are the various situations that are happening. That's why the transition procedures under IBC 2016, that a granular level, whatever the papers are there, whatever the information you are having, all are to be disseminated properly and taking over certificate or handing over certificate, that is also required. then only in future, if at all a taking over and handing over is not properly done, and the taking over person may complain to the adjudicating authority, sir, that paper is not given, this file is not given, that information not provided to me. All these things are happening in this process. So that's why IRP to RP, or earlier RP to new RP, or the RP to liquidator. This is a normal situation in IBC cases. Even the liquidator also sometimes the old liquidator to new liquidator. That is also. So all these things are called transition procedures under IBC 2016. So up to 5 o'clock, I will discuss about this one. And once you go through this one, once you preserve this PPT, definitely once you are going to hand over or taking over from other person, then to my knowledge is concerned, to some extent, it is a useful lots. To you, it is a useful. So this is called transition procedures. Now coming to the end-to-end transition framework for resolution profession that is required. Whatever the story that was happened to me, I have to pass on that story or the documents to my successor, or incumbent. If at all I have partially told and some information communication gaps are there, my successor may not handle that CARP or liquidation properly. Whether it is a public announcement to whatever the papers are there, whether it is a valuation report or expression of interest, or particularly the resolution plans or the information memoranda or the assets where it is, and if at all it is a going concern, he has to tell about where the document are preserved, or what is the role of a production manager or finance manager or marketing manager or HR, and what is the puff transaction. End to end, you have to hand over the case. The similar situation may happen to in your the earlier employment also. Some of the people, particularly CA, CMA, CS, they are in practice. Some of the people, they earlier in the job. Whenever a new person is reported, you have to hand over, and on account of transfers or on account of tenure is over, the same procedure to be adopted. The same procedure also to be adopted in RP to RP, IRP to RP, liquidated to liquidator, or the RP to liquidator. All these things is the part of the IBC process. Now up to 3:30, I will give the some information. After that, again 10 minutes break, and up to 5 o'clock, I will complete this transition procedures. Under IBC, the role of interim resolution professional or resolution professional or liquidator is highly sensitive, responsibility oriented. Whenever a transition takes place, all documents, all claims with the proofs, whatever the notes are there with me, all are to be handed over, handing over, or handed over to the next incumbent. That is my successor. That is taking over IRP RR. Even sometimes within IRP also, IRP to IRP may also happen, and IRP to RP, RP to another RP, RP to liquidate. So these are the situations. So broadly, proper handing over and a taking over procedures become extremely important. Otherwise, complaints will arise, or sometimes the knowledge gaps, or communication gaps, or communication. Suppose take for example, I am the earlier RP and you are the new RP. I have not handed over the puff transactions file. Then, if at all the puff transaction asked by the adjudicating authority, then the file is not available with you. Then at that time you asked me, Mr. Prasad, you have not given that puff transaction file. Now the adjudicating authority asks some clarifications. Because once that is there, then I can inform to the adjudicating authority instantly. Otherwise, some NESL documents uploaded is also there. But why you have not handed over to me? Then I told, no, sir, I have handed over. That is maybe misplaced. So whenever you are handing over or taking over as happening, you have to list out whatever the papers, whatever the documents, whatever the information, all are to be on the paper and get it signed by the taking over person, by the handing over person. Then future litigations and problems will not arise. Suppose I take for example, so many insurance policies or claims are there, claim proofs are there. The proofs are not handed over or taking over properly not happened. Then in future, some papers may require for verification. So that's why proper handing over and taking over procedures become extremely important in CARP process or liquidation process. Any gap in transfer of information, either records or statutory compliance status, litigation details, or financial information like balance sheets or data of ledger or whatever it is there. Custody of assets. What are the assets under your custody? That is also to be handed over to the new incumbent. May create a serious operation, legal, financial, and regulatory issues. These are the problems that are arise. Some other people they are taking easily, casual approach. Once you are filed in a proper manner, once you write a diary, like earlier people are used to write a diary. The diary here means the case by case, the CARP or liquidation. Whenever you are start handling day one onwards, the date, the time, that diary gives a lot of comfort. Whatever happened, write it. This book is gives a lot of comfort and that book to be handed over to the taking over person also by taking acknowledgement. So whenever the handing over process is happening, the you have to take the acknowledgement from the taking over person. So regulatory issues. Thereafter, therefore, a structured, comprehensive transition management system is essential. Suppose insurance policies are there. All insurance policies or licenses are there. In pharma company, licenses are there. All licenses are to be handed over to that particular person properly. If at all not handed over, then thereafter the problems are arise. If the property is not insured properly and later on any contingencies are happening, then the loss, the adjudicating authority will give the order who has to bear the loss. Even particularly the listed companies, the listing agreement procedures, all these things. Even in pharma company, licenses are to be renewed. Even insurance companies are also to be renewed. All these things are very much required, very much required. Therefore, a structured and comprehensive transition management is essential. The objectives of this topic, the topic objectives is only 1 minute, sir. Only 1 minute. Sir, why I have taken this chapter? That rationale is there. That one transition, particularly transition, was happened, and some of the papers are not given by the earlier person. Thereby, the successor is facing lot of problem, has faced a lot of problems. So that's why the transition period is very, very important. What is the object? Particularly, the topic or class aim is explain the statutory provision relating to transition. What I wish is once you are handing over or taking over from earlier person, what are the statutory provisions? Providing practical guidance. Sir, simply filing and handing over is not there. But if you see up to 5 o'clock, how many areas we have to see? Once this is, this perfect, definitely CARP or liquidation is also very easy. Provide the practical guidance for handing over and taking over and explain the document requirements. Once, whatever the important document, suppose the company assets are there, company assets title deeds are there, suppose company land is there, the land is 100 acres. The 100 acres, the documents are with you. Now, new person came, new RP came. So your IRP, you are handing over that document to him. If at all not handled properly, later on, lot of problems will come. Discuss the risks arising improper transition. Suppose you don't know ABC, but day one, once you have taken the order from NCLT that you have appointed as IRP or RP from that days till date, whatever it is there, you have to hand over. Provide a detailed checklist. So that's why if you prepare the checklist, whatever the document, after that you get the signature from that particular person also. Particular person. And they explain the detailed physical records management. Company means number of records are there. Whether it is a shareholders or charges creation or a data ledger or purchases, all assets or liabilities, all documents you have to hand over to them, and he has to acknowledge, discuss control mechanisms. How to control the company? Because for the last 60 or 70 or 80 days, you are in the company. What the problems you have faced? Who is supporting you? Who is not supporting you? All information also to be discussed. If possible, kindly record the same. And one record information, you keep it with you. And the second one, tomorrow, the taking over person may tell, no, sorry, he is not given he has not provided that information, that document, this document, like that. For that, all these things are proof. And explain the stakeholders communication. Who is the financial creator? Who is the operational creator? Who is the class of creator? Who is the home buyers? Next, who is the consortium in the COs also, their percentages, all these things you have to inform to the successor, provide the best practice for smooth continuity. Once you have handed over that one, that day one, your successor should act as like you. That is the proper handing over. Some other people, once the case is they asked by the adjudicating authority COC to other person, they are reluctant. They don't share full information. They don't they will share partial information. They will hide that information. Oh, next person will face the problem if at all I am hiding. This type of mentality that is not acceptable. The fairness, the transparency is very much required in the transition period. So you may get this one or the another case. If at all the same problem is with you, how much problem you will face, the humiliation, all these things on account of inadequacy of data and other things. Train the resolution profession for end-to-end transition management. Actually, here this document to be prepared by the IBB and circulated to all the people to train the resolution profession, or the new amendment also. Both the RP should not act both CIRP as well as liquidation. In that scenario, naturally the transition will happen. Whatever the information is there, you have to hand over to the liquidator properly. Legal framework under IBC. What is the legal framework? IBC. So appointment, your appointment order has to give, and the management affairs of the IRP, how you are managing the affairs of the as a by the IRP, that you have to give full information, either recording or if at all you have prepared any document, that document duties of IRP, whatever you have done, whatever the duties that are defined by the IBB, whether you have satisfied any lapses are there, and the appointment RP or the role of RP or replacement of RP or appointment of liquidator or function obligation of insolvency function. So here, whenever only IRP will continue as an RP or liquidator, then this problem will not arise. Once the IRP is replaced with RP or replaced with RP is replaced with another RP, or at the end CIRP closed without any resolution, and next it moves to liquidation, and if the same RP is continued as a liquidator, no problem. But that is a remote chance. In the today's scenario, that is a remote chance. CIRP regulation, whatever the claims, verification of claims, whatever you have completed, and a COC meeting, how many meetings are held, and all meetings, the minutes as well as resolutions or agenda. All these things are properly transmitted. And a notice of a meeting, appointment of registered values, how you have appointed, what is the particular approval and what is the fees, all these things you have to hand it over. So during still the valuation is going on, but IRP is replaced with RP. In that case, if you not hand over properly, then how much amount fees to be paid to the registered values? Where is the approval? All these things you have to transmit. And the liquidation values, whatever the valuations are there, whether it is a fair value or liquidation value, whatever the information memorandum you have prepared, that also to be handed over. And invitation for expression of interest. Once you have the invited for expression of interest from the prospective resolution applicant, that also you have to hand over to your successor. Once you are replaced with another RP, or RP is replaced, the RP, role is over in CIRP and a new liquidator. In all situations, all documents handed over, take the acknowledgement with full information and clean your hands. Once that is not happened, so many problems will arise. And approval of the resolution plan, if at all approval of the resolution, still some more activities are to be completed during that time. If at all any RP changed, this also to be changed. And liquidation process regulations, asset memoranda, or preliminary report, or progress report, or stakeholders consultative committee, all are to be informed to your successor. Once the liquidator is replaced with another liquidator, and IAP regulation and code of conduct, and from time to time, whatever whenever you are handling the particular the CIRP or liquidation, you have to follow the code of conduct, accountability, proper record maintenance, preservation of confidentiality, ethical conduct. All these things are also to be followed. And confidentiality, whether you have maintained the confidentiality or not, how you have maintained, what declarations you have taken while giving the information memoranda or other information to COC, all papers are to be handed over to your successor. Now, importance of a proper transition. Why there is a lot of importance for transition? Once the transition is not happened, what will happen? What will happen? First one is loss of records. Improper handover may result in loss of records, missing claims, failure in statutory compliances, delay in CARP timelines, and a litigation risk. All these things will happen. Once the improper handover is there, the handing over should be proper. Once not proper, some documents loss of records will happen. So during your tenure, whatever the papers procured, whatever the claims procured, whatever the resolutions or minutes or whatever it is there during COC meeting, whatever the correspondence that are happened between you and the others, and all are to be properly filed and properly handed over by taking acknowledgement from your successor. Delay in the timelines. If at all delay was happened, what is the reason? You have to tell to your successor. Otherwise, simply if anybody is questioned, that successor will tell, no, sir, at that material time, I am not there. That person, Mr. Prasad, is there. Like that. That is not correct. So, if at all delay was happened, what could be the reason? And the same reason, if at all you communicate to them, in case any inquiries are may come, definitely litigation risks. So once improper, this one is there, it attracts the litigation. So the same thing happening because of some of the particular the present who is they listening this particular webinar. Definitely, some of them people they worked in the organization. Once he is shifted from one department to another department, or one branch to another, one center to another center, and who is coming to the successor, he will tell A to Z, A to Z, and whatever the documents under his custody, he will hand it over to the successor. Then only the smooth sailing will happen. In the similar manner in the IRP to RP, RP to RP, RP to liquidator, liquidator to liquidator. All these things are transition. Improper handle, asset misappropriation. If at all you have not told, some assets are there. Some people may take away. And if at all you have not handed over the title deeds of the assets, and some people in the organization, they will use the title and they will sell away without the knowledge of. So many things are happening. Even today, some of the companies they are giving mortgage to the bank. This property also, without the knowledge of the bank, the companies are also selling that the properties. N number of cases are there. Even though Section 77, the creation of charge and all these things are there, or encumbrance certificates are also there, still that is happening. Even today, they recently Reserve Bank of India, they have issued one circular that one person used one title deed of the property mortgaged in 27 banks. So here, the fraudulent persons are also non-availability of books. Well, suppose the data are there. Sir, this is the data. Whenever the data they have not paid, I have issued these notices. So this is a notices file. Some of the people they paid, sir. The paid amount is credited to bank account. Some of the people they have not paid. I have initiated the legal action. Till creditors. Sir, so many creditors are filed their claims. I have verified with the books. This is a creditors book. And along with invoice, I have verified. And some of them are admitted, some of them. This is a creditors ledger. This is a creditors claims. The file. You hand it over. Whenever you are handing over one by one, take and get the acknowledgement. And failure to protect corporate debtors assets. Once you told that these are the corporate data assets, I have appointed security. The security fees is monthly 20,000. This amount to be paid by the finance department. I have given instructions also. This is the instruction. So regulatory non-compliant. Sir, here the regulatory compliances also there with regard to ROC, with regard to SEBI, if at all listed company, or whatever the pollution control board, if the company is a going concern, these are the regulatory, these are I have fulfilled. And in the coming days, next month, again you have to take the renewal of the pollution control, or after 3 months, you have to renew the listing agreement, like that, the regulatory. And if at all improper is there, and non-compliance, and personal liabilities of the professions. Once this is not handing over properly, the personal liability. Complaints before IBPA. But how many complaints? Because even though I'm handling from day one onwards, nearly 40 people they have complained about me, about the others, about the particular COC decisions, and some CDs. These are the complaints. I have received this complaints from the IBPI. So these 40 handed over. What is the latest status of the complaints? That also. So the taking over, handing over procedures, at least minimum 1 week it will take. So for this 7 days, you ask the adjudicating authority, they will extend the same, they will deduct this. Some of the judicial pronouncements also. Whenever the taking over, handing over process is there, and if the time was elapsed or spent 10 days, the 10 days out of the 180, they will deduct the 10 days and remain the balance of 10 days, they will give complaints before IBB, adverse observation of NCLT. Boss, I am handling this case, but during the case, the NCLT observed this one, adverse, or whatever it is there, improper, if at all it is not properly done, then it is very, 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 very difficult. Principles of active handover and taking over. The best principles you have to follow. Otherwise, sometimes without your knowledge, you may face a problem. So now you are going out of the company. The new person is coming into the company. And whatever the day one, morning to evening, or the correspondence, or the paper, or the communication, or the knowledge, you have to transmit the same to your new RP, or RP to RP, or RP to liquidator, or liquidator to liquidator. That is the effectiveness. So once the taking over person, after completion of this one, if you give the proper information from day one, he will act like you. If at all you have not tell anything, sir, this is a document, that is a document. You never told about the CD corporate data, what problems he is creating, and how many cases are filed. And how many fraudulent transaction that was happened during tenure, how you have identified all these things you have to tell, then only your successor will act. Sir, today we may get the cases, we have to hand over, means we have to hand over. No, no, no. The new person is getting opportunity. I'm losing that opportunity. If that mindset is there, that is not a professional code of conduct. That is not a professional code of conduct. Core principles. Completeness is required, sir. Whatever your mind with regard to CIR the case, that chip to be transmitted in the successor brain and the accuracy. Don't hide any information. If at all any threatening by the corporate data, tell to your successor, he will prepare for that one, the legally. Transparency, no hidden agenda, transparent. And I have paid this one to this person, or this one, all are with the proofs and whatever the approvals that are you have obtained in COS timelines. Whether you have followed the all the time. And if at all you have not followed any process in time, that also inform. That also inform. And once you have given full information, definitely some good results to you and to him also will happen. Accountability. Once you are not handed over properly, some accountability will rest the accountability also there, and the confidentiality. Whenever you are handing over this document to your successor in a confidential, not in public place, and go to the room and one by one, if at all in a cupboard, if at all you preserved whatever the documents are there, one by one. That's why the time management planning, the organization of your complete documentation of a CARP is very much. Some of the people I am observing, they are excellent. Day one, once they receive the order, they will write a diary. I have visited to NCLT and I have handed over, I have taken over the order. Second day, immediately I visited to the bank to stop. Bank authorities given letter, letter number two, letter the document one, NCLT order, document two. Like that, if at all you have given a serial number and a diary and other things, then it is okay. Continuity of operations. If at all you are not given properly, again from square one onwards. And the new person has to think and interact with that. If at all you provide the total information that is there in your brain, handing over, he will take over. Then, as the next day, as if they will continue. Stakeholders of protection. Why this handing over, taking over? Stakeholder protection. If at all no proper handing over has happened, not a proper taking over has done, who are the sufferers? The stakeholders. Either the financial creditor, or the operational creditor, or the class of creditor, or the home buyers, etc. Documentation based transition. Not orally. He may forgotten. And if at all any flow chart is there, simple, sir. This is not a rocket science. So that's why some of the RPs I have observed also, they are good. Every day, whatever happened, they will write it on a documentation. Today, there is a dispute, there is an inquiry about the fraudulent transaction. The fraudulent transaction is this one. I have resolved this one after verification and sent that the claim back to the claimant. And today, the particularly the production department telephoned that raw material supply of is shortage is there. Immediately, I telephoned to the vendor. Vendor arranged 200 kgs of raw material or 500, and the going concern, the production is a non-stop activity. So, what is the problem? How much time it is? I'm not asking you to write a big books like that. And digital security. Once during CIRP, whatever the document generated, scan it, upload it, scan it up. They take the backup. In case your documents are met with a fire accident, or in case your documents are that particularly this white ants, or in case the documents are missed, the disaster or the secondary document is available. So all documents. What is today? N number of papers we can scan it out. Mega scanners are there. If at all you are giving 500 document within half an hour also, some big scanners are there, front and back, fatafat. And they will give in the pen drive. Or if at all your RAM house. So digital security is also there. Stages in transition process. What are the stages in transition? Stage one, pre-transition planning. Pre-transition planning. Sir, are you getting my point? What I am telling, sir? Sir, madam? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, pre-transition plan. What is a pre-transition plan? First of all, obtain the appointment order. Okay. Understand the scope of the transition and a fixed handover date. So, first of all, once this before a transition, get the appointment order of the successor handover letter, and understand the scope of the transition, and fix the handover date. Okay, sir, next 2 days or next week, I will hand over all the documents to you. And prepare a detailed checklist, whatever the document or papers or title deeds or security documents or confidential information, all are to be prepared the list. Take one list with you, second list to the successor. One by one you hand over. He will tick it. And that particularly identify the pending compliances. Once this is happening, the pending compliances also. If at all any pending from your side is there, that also to be handed over. Boss, during my tenure, I have unable to complete this one. Please do the needful during your tenure. If at all seriousness is there, try to complete that one and hand over. And particularly pending compliance, prepare inventory of documents. Whatever the vital document, whether it is a asset related or any particularly puff transaction, the audit report or information memoranda or valuation reports, all the document, inventory of the document. Prepare a digital access inventory. Sir, today, to safeguard your this one, you have to digitalize it every day, not one day. If at all every day, if at all you complete the digitalization, and the index is very easy. Otherwise, at the end, if at all digitalized, it may not come in a sequence manner. Because today, once you are and the companies, most of the companies, they are having the Xerox copy come scanners, and whatever it is a simple operation also, and you give and scanning and take on the pen drive or memory card, etc., and preserve it both physical as well as digital also. Inform COC and stakeholders. Once you are handing over to a new professional, your successor, then first you have to, sir, in my place, the new person is reported. And now I am handing over the total process to him. And a schedule of a joint transition meeting. So once all these things are there, so all these things, only once, 1 minute, sir, only 1 minute. Next, inform to COC and stakeholders, schedule of a joint transition meeting. So preferably the transition time is holiday, Sunday or Saturday is the best one. Because during the particular working hours, if the transition is happening, a lot of disturbance and people are interrupting you. So normally the transition is on the particular holiday or Sunday, so that the transition takes place in a smooth manner. So the transition time is also very important. And financial records, whatever the balance sheet, whatever the invoices, whatever the shareholders list, whatever the creditors list, whatever the debtors list, all financial records, even bank accounts, bank statements, all records are to be handed over to the next person, successor, by taking the acknowledgement. Before that, whatever the documents you are going to give, prepare the list. And he will tick, 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 tick. Last received 32 documents as mentioned above. The books of accounts. Whatever the books are there, that is also to be claim records. So, how many claims you have received? How many claims are rejected? How many claims are not accepted on account of reasons? With the reasons that also, and the litigation files. During the CIRP, how many litigations are filed? What are the litigation? What is the current status? You have to inform. Otherwise, your successor is in dark and he is unable to hand over that particular assignment properly. So that's why, for jovial sake, what I am telling, whatever your chip is there, this chip is to be transmitted in your successor's brain. Because you are leaving the organization, the new incumbent is coming. And banking records, GST, if at all it is a going concern. During your tenure, GST records are there. That GST records are also. Otherwise, tomorrow, if at all any problem arises, he will simply tell to the adjudicating authority, Sir, I have that my predecessor not hand over the document. Simply, without verifying, without seeing that checklist and acknowledgement, etc. Income tax matters. Whatever the income tax returns are there, particularly income tax file or ROC filed returns, whatever it is there, because that documents are no use for you, no use, and all are to be hand over. If at all possibility is there, daily you are taking the digitalization of your records, that memory card is sufficient for you. And employee records. Sir, at the time of CIRP, these are the employees. And I am paying monthly salaries to these people. And some of them are resigned, and some new persons are appointed. And all these things, up to one, what is the basic, all these things, that records also to be handed over. Contracts and agreements. Whatever the contracts and agreements that are executed during your tenure or earlier tenure, all are properly numbered and mentioned in the checklist and handover. Because once a handover means that is a happiest moment for you. Happiest moment, because your burden is transmitted to the successor brain and the information memorandum. Boss, this is the prepared. This is when our request for resolution plan is there, we have given to this SRAs valuation reports. Boss, I have given two valuation report. The valuation fees also I have paid. That approval letter of COC is also this is the valuer is a reputed one. The valuation fair value liquidation value is there. And sometimes, boss, I have taken three valuation report. Why? Because a lot of variation is there. The third valuation is also there. These are the plant and machinery. These are the land and building. These are the securities valuation. And you have to tick that checklist. So once the checklist to be prepared before handing over, and the books are to be arranged properly as per the sequence of the checklist. Sir, here my observation is IBBA should develop and circulate it to the members. Otherwise, today what is happening? Simply Boss, that cupboard is there, na? In that cupboard, whatever it is there, all are there, boss. This is the chabi. That is not correct. What was happened? What is the whether CD is cooperating or not? What is the role of the officers in a company? Digital credentials. Boss, that IT systems are there. It is a ERP software. I am that the user ID password. I have given user ID password to this officers. This is the finance department. This is the HR department. This is these people are using. Remaining is deleted, and the annual maintenance contract of that particular the IT is this is the agreement. Every year we are paying 1 lakh rupees. Some imaginary figures I'm telling. The digital, even Wi-Fi, all communication systems, or desktops, or laptops, whatever the mobile phones that are provided by the company to the staff members also, you have to properly hand it over. Otherwise, they will ask again, and all these things because you are handing over the company in a proper manner to your successor. Physical handover. Physical files. The files are in a sequence manner. The files are numbered. That number tallied with your checklist. Your checklist prepared. Asset registers, particularly fixed assets register, or land and building, or plant and machinery. The registers. The registers where full particulars when it is purchased, what is the depreciation, what is the life of the machinery, and what are the additions that are happening. All are available. Company seals, because the company secretary, whenever you are handing over the particular the documents, or you have to hand over the company seal. Whatever the agreements are there, the agreements are properly sealed. Suppose you have taken interim finance from one company, bank asked all mortgage deed or hypothecation agreement or whatever the agreements are there, the company seal is required. The company seal is with the, now you are the CEO. Now you are the CEO, officiating CEO. And normally it is in the company secretary, this one. And all these company seal also, and original documents. Whether the office building or branch building or other places land is there, that original documents are to be handed over. Property documents are to be handed over. Share certificates. Particularly if at all it is a private limited company or a public limited company, if shares are there, demat accounts. The demat accounts access also to be given to your successor. So in a broader manner, the physical handover is like that. Demat certificates. Not only that one, security documents, bank instruments like checks or bank guarantees. If at all it is there, or checkbooks or digital signature tokens, that also to be handed over. Hardware devices, particularly the hardware, how many computers are there. Then you write all these things. So that's why once he come, boss, next week, same day, we will sit together. That is Sunday or the holiday, we will sit together. Morning, 9 o'clock, we will start up to night 9. I will hand over and I will take the relieving letter. Once you have given, then he has to give the relieving letter. I have taken over all the documents or registers as per the checklist enclosed. And at the closing of the business, he has relieved. And the office keys. Even hardware devices also entering into the computer room. Who are they accessing the systems room? And whatever the office keys are there, all office keys, password inventory in a sealed form, all these things are to be physically handed over to your successor. When once you are you are handling IRP of a CIRP, after certain days, next IRP will be changed new RP. Next, you have to hand over to the new RP. Sometimes, if RP is not functioning well, the COC or adjudicating authority replace the RP with new RP. In that case, also you have to hand over or take over. And third situation is if the CIRP failed and the company is under liquidation, then that particular scenario also you have to hand over to the liquidator. That is a new regulation. Once the CIRP is failed, and the same person should not be continued as a liquidator. So this is the physical handover. Stage 4, all email IDs, you have to hand over virtual data room. So whatever the virtual data room, whenever the prospective resolution applicant wants to visit and wants to verify the documents and all these things, that data room keys are also to be handed over to your successor. And the accounting software, whether it is a tally or entrepreneur's resource planning program or whatever the software that are adopted by the company, the software certificates and all these things are also handed over because he is a CEO. And MCA credentials, the MCA credentials also, post portal credentials, that also you have to hand over, and a GST portal access, that also you have to hand it over to your successor. In all these cases, proper handing over means end to end, end to end. So once you list out in your particularly checklist, whenever you are handing over all these things, tick, 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 finally he will sign. That is, then you are relieved comfortably without any tension later on. If at all you have not handed over properly, next daily phone will come. Boss, that papers are not given. Boss, this book where I have to kept, where you have kept. Boss, that person is agitating or he is asking claims higher. Daily they will interrupt like anything. If at all these things are happened, then no disturbance for you. If at all they asked, boss, see checklist 34. In the 34, this is handed over to you. You please verify. If at all books are not with me, how I will verify? Like that you can counter answer you can give to the your successor. And ERP, suppose income tax portal access, that also you have to hand over. Because some claims or quarterly results or whatever the advanced tax is there paid, that also. And e-procurement portal, whenever the e-procurement portal is there, that is also whenever the government the website for MSME e-procurement portal is there, that also you have to hand over employee management systems and cloud storage. Once the company is engaging the services of cloud, that cloud, who is the cloud, what is his monthly payments, what is the agreement reached by the company with the cloud, and what are the services that are provided by the cloud, all these things. Not only this one, data backup system. Data backup system means the backups. Suppose a server, the data is there. If at all a server is crashed, then it will be a problem. So you have to take the backup of the server, that is a data backup systems, litigation tracking system, and the ERP systems. All these things are there. Now joint review. So joint review. Suppose a pending litigations are there. What is a pending litigation? Why the litigation arises? What is the current status? Who is handling that case? Which advocate is handling that case? And why that still it is pending? All these pending litigations also you have to discuss with your successor. With your successor, boss, this litigations 20 are there. That 20, this is a status. So the pending CARP timelines, boss, this is the timeline. But due to some issues, I am unable to adhere the timeline. This is the reasons for that. If at all in future, don't tell to the adjudicating authority simply that earlier the RP is not adhere the timeline. The timeline is this one. And pending applications, whatever the claims admission or whatever it is there, avoidance transactions, whatever the puff transaction report that are given by that advocate the auditor, that is also to be present. Claims verification status, whether 100% claims are admitted or not, if at all partial, why the rejections, and if at all any pending is there, subject to verification of your records. All these things are through joint verification, you and your successor. You and your successor. And COC matters. What are the COC matters we have discussed so far? And still, what are the matters to be discussed? And pending statutory dues, whether GST or income tax or ESI or TDS, whatever the statutory dues are there, what is the latest position? Transmit that one, sir. Transmit whatever was happened during your tenure, whether it is a 30 days or 40 days or 50 days or 100 days or 120 days. So at any time they may means some the events they may remove. So up to that whatever it is there, so you have to they transmit properly. And a cash flow statement. So you have prepared cash flow, weekly cash flow. How much cash is I am going to get? How many payments are there? What are the payments? All these things. Next 2 months you might have prepared cash flow. That cash flow also to be handed over. Otherwise, he will be in dark. What type of receipts are coming? What type of payments are there? And operational issues. What is the operational issues? The operational issues are production department or HR department or marketing department, whatever the issues, production, some of the people they resign and they are claiming back wages or 12 months or 24 months or some productivity is poor. Next, even production manager, if at all, he is asking higher amount. And whatever it is there, operational issues. There is no this one or that one. And employee matters, particularly HR person, he will tell employee matters. with regard to suspension or dismiss, or salary is not paid, or ESI, or particularly whatever the income tax TDS recovered from their salaries, not remitted by the company to the income tax, or whatever it is there, with regard to bonus, or employee matters. If at all it is a going concern, whatever the labor code is implemented or not. If not, what is the matter? Vendor matters. You have to inform vendor matters. Who is supplied raw material to you? Sir, if at all you have not paid that amount, if in the next month, I will stop the providing the raw material to you. Or he may claim interest also. Whatever the issues are there with the vendor, actually vendor is also supply raw material that is not up to the quality, and a dispute is there. Inform to your next successor. Sir, last month this was happened. The vendor supplied raw material, but he is not taken back. The raw material is a quality not up to the mark. If that quality is used, the product problem will arise. Security arrangements. Sir, how many securities are there in the company? So, for stores, how many are there? For plant and machinery, for gate, or the vehicles, not only that one, CCTV camera. So, CCTV surveillances, all these things. So, because you are the CEO of the company from day one onwards, okay, normally your role is up to 180 days. In the meantime, some reason they asked you, new person will report. So you have to tell the total story up to handing over date to your successor or new account. Even security measures. What type of security is there? Particularly for the stocks or income, while incoming the gates, security, how many are there? What is their salary? All these things how to inform and prepare handover memo. Once all these things are you have prepared, you take a handing over memo. Handing over. And he has to give the acknowledgement. Otherwise, orally, boss, good night. I have handed over. Best of luck. Like that, Tata bye bye. Not time. But whatever you have handed over, the documents, the paper, the information, all these things are to be documented and get the acknowledgement. Submit the report to COC. This also you have to submit to the COC. Otherwise, what will happen is tomorrow he may tell to the COC indirectly. Then COC will also verify whether this is handed over or not. Inform to NCLT. NCLT also you have to inform. So once your handing over task was completed, you have to inform not only to the COC but also to the NCLT. Update the stakeholders. Otherwise, some of the stakeholders like operational creditors or some financial creditors, frequently they are disturbing you. Sir, what is my status? Once whoever is there, if that is a group is there, you send today onwards. The new person reported, my role in the company was ended on so and so date at about so and so time. In future, I request you to please contact the new resolution professional or the liquidator or whatever it is there you mention and send to them. Then that is the correct handing over process. Update to the stakeholders, preserve records, whatever acknowledgements that are given to you, keep it with you. Tomorrow, if at all he raised, you have not given that one, this one, that one. Then prepare a compliance note. You have to prepare the compliance note also. Sir, are you getting my point or not? Sir.
Sir,
Yes,
getting.
sir.
Sir.
Any.
Very much, sir.
Because, sir, here the new amendment.
Sir, one my question, sir.
Tell me, sir.
Sir, please, this type of chart checklist, if it is prepared in the manner what matters to be handed over, what matters to be received, this and that, we normally we are doing in rough papers and so on so on. If it is computerized, any checklist is there, then it will be very helpful to us.
Sir, here.
Chattopadhyay sir, I think the speaker will share with us, I believe.
Then now what I am telling is,
yes,
there is no standard document here.
Okay.
At about 2 o'clock, I told IBBA is also not developed. They should develop this one. They have to the acknowledgement also. Acknowledgement also they have to draft because legally that is they will they will develop that acknowledgement to avoid the litigations in future. They have to develop this one and they have to circulate to the members. And if at all anything happened wrong, then a disciplinary committee come into the picture. Why you have not a handover? Then if at all IP is asked, you have not told me. No. That is everything is not possible for
genuine
us.
issue, sir. It is genuine issue. Normally, we got it. I normally I used to log books or diary, whatever you say, to enter day-to-day activity in this paper. But there is no such software is there in such things. Whatever I think, whatever activity is doing, we are just putting in this word in the diary. Nothing else. This is the way now we are doing.
Sir, here with the help of my PPT, I have covered all the areas in a structured manner.
Okay, sir.
Sir, here once our regulator is not developed and not circulated the information. In the meantime, if at all this type of situations are happening, then we may face some problem. To avoid that one checklist to be prepared by you, and whenever you are handing over or taking over, sometimes always handing over is not happen. Sometimes from another RP you may take over, or another you may be the liquidator. From another RP you have to take over. So that side or this side, list will be the same. List will be the same. If at all any situation arises, you take this PPT, develop the checklist, and if at all some add-ons are there, add that one, then only the quality of handing over, taking over will happen. Not only that one.
Sir, you should, sir, you please share the PPT also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Now coming to detail.
Sir, one comment.
Sir.
Sir, if we are properly following the checklist given by IBBA, I think most of the things will be covered, right?
What checklist IBBA has given, sir?
No, they have given all the timetable, no? May not be checklist, timetable.
No. That timetable is different. This is different.
No,
sir, in that case, the timetable means according to time scheduled, you have to complete that process.
And for each
that is a model the timelines. Model
timelines.
That is at the end of CIRP, that is there.
Yeah, I agree, sir. They have not given a detailed checklist, but as a professional, we normally, even for our company activities, we prepare checklist when any major things are there, like buyback of shares or whatever activity we are doing in finance. We have a checklist. If we prepare proper checklist and work according to that, then probably handover, it might cover most of the points. I think PPT is very exhaustive, but then if you have a proper checklist, then most of the things probably might be covered if you are
Sir,
following that.
sometimes it will differ from company to company.
Correct, correct.
Suppose a manufacturing company
obviously,
and
sir.
a service organization.
Activities will differ.
Correct. So actually, sir, you take this as a base.
Correct.
Whatever the checklist is with you, if at all any additions are there, add that one. Definitely, that is a comprehensive one.
Correct.
And when that situation occurs, first you go through the total PPT or your checklist, comprehensive checklist, and fine tune according to that particular company where you are going to hand over or taking over. Then develop that checklist, and accordingly you hand it over and take the acknowledgement, or taking over and give the acknowledgement.
Correct. Agree, sir.
Otherwise,
what are all the missing? We can identify the missing points and add it to the checklist. That's what you are saying.
Correct.
And complete it.
Correct. Why? Because, sir, suppose a land title deed is there. You have not handed over.
Correct,
and
sir.
that is forgotten and misplaced somewhere.
That is a normal thing, sir, in many companies.
Some scrupulous persons, unscrupulous persons, they grabbed that one and they misutilized that one. Then automatically that issue will, that problem will also, we have to face. Suppose I take, for example, the TDS is there, and the TDS recovered but not deposited. In the meantime, handing over was completed, and that successor also not seen that one. Some penalties or other things will happen. So, because here everybody earlier worked, most of the people, they worked earlier in some organizations. Handing over and taking over is every 2 or 3 years or 5 years that will happen in that. Take for example, even I worked in State Bank of India in 22 locations. Whenever I am going, my successor, boss, this branch is this one. This is a deposit. These are the top 10 customers. These are the top 10. These are the chronic defaulters. Next, some of the people are imprisoned also, the staff members. The staff members' attitude is like this. And these are the union people. These are the association people. And some of the people, they tested you to avail the loans. And these people, 10 people, always they are bringing the spurious gold. Like that, whenever we are handing over or taking over, while taking over also, I prepared, even bank also not given. Any the standard format. So I myself designed 200 areas. Whenever, particularly, I was transferred from Visakhapatnam to Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh. In the Kadapa branch, Kadapa regional manager, and what are the documents I have to take, and what questions I have to ask about the union, about the association, about the sources of good deposits and chronic fellows, willful defaulters, all end to end, and what repairs I have to done in the branches. What is the attitude of 40 branches or 60 branches under my control? Who are the best branch managers? Who will rise to that occasion? So here also, what I am telling is, you have spent nearly 40 days or 60 days or 80 days or 120. The occasion has come that no, instead of you This is a new person will add. So don't think that a new person is getting opportunity, I am losing the opportunity. Whatever you have learned end to end, up to last this one, you please hand over to them, then problems will not arise. Problems will not arise. Some other people, what they are doing, no, why should I tell? He will look after, he will verify, and
Very
all these.
normal, sir. Normal.
Some people are doing like that.
Many of them do that, sir.
Some people, 30 days, 30 days, only 1 month, I got the particular phase. Second month onwards, he is getting. And immediately, sir, that cupboard is there, sir. All files are there, sir. And I'm Tata, bye bye. And he is not taking over.
Correct, sir.
Or handing over the takeover, the particular acknowledgement and all these things is not taken over. Then later on, daily that person is telephoning. No, where is this file? Where is that file? And sometimes even NCLT also that successor told the sir earlier person he is not handing over properly. Then okay. Then I will inform what is his registration number? This one. I will inform to the IBBA according. Why should you invite all these nonsenses? Instead of that, whether 30 days or 10 days or 5 days, within 5 days, what has happened? Handing over and come back. We will handle another case. Okay. Now coming to detailed handover. Now, company information, corporate information. Where is the certificate of incorporation? And memorandum of association and articles of association. And SIN details. What is a company PAN number or TAN number or GST registration or whatever the factory licenses are there? Sir, information means you are the CEO of the company. Sometimes instantly certificate of incorporation number. Again, okay, it is very easy to get that one. Again, you have to ask the company secretary or other people or finance people, where is the memorandum of association? Where is the articles of association? Where is the SIN details? Or what is the PAN number or TAN number or GST registration? So, sorry, beyond all these things, if at all you are taken over the company, if all these things are arranged by you, definitely smooth sailing. Leave it of the handing over or taking over. Leave it of the handing over and taking over. For a MD of a CEO of the company, you should have this knowledge or information. So during your tenure, that handing over will not arise. But at the same time, this information is required. Day one, if you ask what is the article, where it is, you get the one Xerox copy to me, the memorandum, and what is the SIN detail? Can I have the Xerox copy? Certificate of incorporation, all these PAN, TAN, GST registration, put it in one file, and whenever appropriate time, whenever occasion arises, without asking these people, we can get that information. Trade licenses, export-import licenses, particularly the DGFT, Director General of Foreign Trade, they will give import-export code also. If at all that company is export-oriented, then I have to use. And if at all anybody asks, no, sir, I don't know, sir. Memorandum of association, have you seen? No, sir. No, being a CEO of the company as designated by ROC or NCLT, why you have not the having the knowledge with the pollution control approvals? Being a factory, that too, water pollution, air pollution, sound pollution, every year it is to be renewed. If it all not renewed, then penalties will be imposed by the state pollution control board. Once you have not renewed, penalty. Once the penalty is there, the penalty will be recovered from your own income. This is not part of CIRP also. So leave it off that particular, the secondary issue like that, that is handing over and taking over. Not only that one, shops and establishment registration. And if at all MSME registration. Yeah, and if at all PF, ESI, or employees, particularly employees provident fund organization, they have given number. Even ESI also given number. How many insurance policies are there? And you have to hand over insurance policy for building, for what purpose? If at all any natural calamities are happened, any earthquake, building collapse, or if at all floods are there nearby coastal zone, then immediately you have to claim. So whenever the insurance policies are there, boss, this is a building policy, this is a plant and machinery, this is a workman compensation policy. Like that, if at all you provide that information to your successor, successor won't telephone to you. Even leave it off that particular handing over, the taking over. For smooth completion of your CIRP or smooth completion of your liquidation, this is required. Insurance policies and financial information. You have to hand over audited financial statement. So, where is the audited? I have reported in the month of April, 31st also audited. So, put it one box file and hand it over. Provisional financial statement on insolvency commencement date. Provisional financial statement to be prepared, where they handed over, and a trial balance handed over. The general ledger. The general ledger means whatever the assets, whatever the liabilities or schedules are there, handed over, and whatever the cash book, how much cash balance, and on CIRP commencement, what is the closing balance, or today I am handing over, what is the closing balance, the handover, and the bank book. What are the bank balance, and what is the bank account number? Where is the branch manager? Once you are the handing over, you inform to the branch also. In my place, Sir has come. Sri Guru Raja Sir has come. Like that, and his special signature like that. They will remove my signature and replace your signature. So, handing over means, to my knowledge is concerned, whether I'm correct or not. Some of the people, they are doing casual approach, which is not correct. Okay, if at all everything is fine, no problem. Once the problem is arised, these issues will rise. Next, fixed assets register. Whatever the fixed assets, how many are there? Buildings, how many are there? Plant and machinery, chairs, computers, all inventory records. As on date of handing over, what is the stock? Whether how much raw material, work in progress, how much, fixed the finished goods, how much, debtors and creditors list, and whatever the letters and creditors list, get it from the particular finance department through ERP or Tally. Boss, this is the latest debtors list. This is the latest creditors. Related party transactions. If at all it is there, hand over to your successor or take over from your predecessor, and cost records. In particularly some companies, cost records are also to be maintained as per section 238, I think so. Not 238. That is different. So cost records are also to be, and budget and projections, whether it is a cash budget or production budget or whatever the projection, cash flow statement, handover, and banking, bank account details, whether it is a current account or working capital loan or term loan, and as on insolvency commencement date, the whatever the bank account is today, the corporate trade banking is there. Everybody, they need not to go to the bank also. They can download the PDF files also. Take the PDF file and get its signature. And the checkbook also you have to hand over the unused checkbooks. Up to yesterday you have used. Today the successor came. Whatever the checkbooks handed over, signature details. Once the handing over is happened, immediately inform to the bank, sir, my signature to be deleted and a new incumbent signature. Escrow accounts. Some of the companies, escrow accounts are there. Why escrow? So the total sales are credited to escrow, and whatever the operational expenditure they will allow, and remaining used for payment. And fixed deposits.
नहीं अभी तक तो आया नहीं है, वो बंदा बोला था मगर अभी तक आया नहीं। आप एक कीजिए अब करें।
So here the fixed deposits also.
चले
Why fixed deposit? Some of
Please
the
mute
companies.
all, sir. Please mute all. Some noise is coming from Raja's quotas.
Sir, fixed deposits. Why fixed deposits? Bank guarantees. 25% margin is there, cash margin. Some of the company has earlier taken as a bank guarantee. For that, fixed deposits are there. The fixed deposits are also informed how many fixed deposits, how many guarantees are there, what is the 25%, and what is the present status, all these things. Guarantees. How many guarantees are pending? And what is the maturity date? If at all it is expired, reversal that one, and whatever the particular fixed deposits are there, that used for company purpose. The LCs, letter of credit or bank guarantee details, and a loan document, whether it is a mortgage or hypothecation or whatever the documents that are given, a Xerox copy the bank will provide to the borrower. The documents are with the company. Take that one and handing over that one to your successor. And after the tea break, we will discuss some more points. Now 3:40, again 3:50, we will up to 3:50, we will take the tea break, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, with regard to banking, these are this type of information we have to provide to the successor. That is the successor of my CAR. CARP records. In the CARP records also, I have to hand over the NCLT admission order. I have to give the public announcement copy. I have to hand over the claims received statement, and I have to hand over particularly the claims verification records, list of creditors, COC constitution details, and COC voting records, and the minutes of COC meeting. All these things with regard to CARP, I have to hand over to my successor, that is a new RP or liquidator. Not only that one, and with regard to essentials of CARP, e-voting reports, I have to hand over. Information memoranda, I have to hand over to my successor. And whatever the valuation reports that are there, all these things I have to hand over to my successor, who is a new RP or the liquidator, etc. Expression of interest document, that also I have to hand over. Resolution plans received. How many resolution plans I have received during my tenure? All these things I have to hand over to my successor. Not only that one, evaluation matrix. Particularly, whatever the evaluation matrix that I have prepared to my particularly with regard to prospective resolution applicants, that also I have to hand over, and the compliance certificates, if any is there, that also hand over to my successor. Not only that one, the progress reports and the legal opinion, if at all that is happened during my tenure, that also I have to hand over to my successor. And the litigation management. Sometimes some litigations are appearing during CARP. Whatever litigations are there, that also I have to hand over to my successor. If at all I have not handed over, then he will face the problem and he will chasing me to provide that information. Instead of all these things, first of all, at the time of handing over, if I provide all this information, then it will be good for me. What are the pending NCLT matters? Litigations, High Court matters, if any, that also I have to hand over. Supreme Court matters, if at all, that is also to be hand over. Arbitration matters, if any, that also hand over. And the DRT proceedings, if at all any litigations are there during CARP, up to my tenure, I have to hand over to my successor. Not only that one, the SURFACE matters. If at all any SURFACE issues are there, even though IBC prevail over other acts, still some other people without knowledge, they may issue the notices. All these things I have to hand over to my successor. And labor disputes. If at all any labor disputes during the going concern, if at all any workman compensation act or any accidents are happening, that labor disputes also I have to hand it to my successor. Tax litigations, particularly if at all I submitted any appellate authorities with regard to GST or income tax, if at all any litigations are there, all the files are to be handed over to my successor, who is either RP or the liquidator. Criminal complaints. Some other people, they may file some criminal complaints during my tenure. That also I have to hand over. And recovery proceedings. So during that particular CARP up to my tenure, whatever the recovery proceedings are there, that amount from whom, all the information I have to hand it over to my successor. Avoidance transaction, whether it is a preferential or undervalue or fraudulent or extortionate, whatever it is there, I have to hand it over to my successor, that is a new RP or the liquidator. Documents. These documents are also I have to hand it over to my new RP or successor. If at all my services are not required and a new RP is appointed or once the CIRP failure is there, I have to hand over all the documents and all the files, all the minutes to my successor. So here documents means what is the case file and the advocate details. I have to hand over. And Vakalta, Mama, that is also hearing schedules. How many hearings are happened and the orders pass. That orders list also I have to enclose and the legal opinions. In some matters, I may take some legal opinions from the legal experts with regard to certain issues. Whatever the opinions are there, all are to be handed over and their complex status and all these things to be handed over to my successor. With regard to claims management, financial creditors, how many I have accepted or admitted? Operational creditors, how many are accepted or admitted? And employee claims, if at all employee claims are submitted, how many are there? And all files are to be properly handed over to my successor and get the acknowledgement. And the government adjusts, whether it is a GST or income tax or other, this one is it. Then contingent claims. During the course, any contingent claims are there, whether it is a workman or any disputes or litigations. If at all any court order you have to pay means that liabilities also, contingent claims also, I have to submit to my successor so that he will closely monitor after my departure from that particular CIRP. Dispute claims. How many dispute claims are there? They have not properly submitted their particular proofs and other things. That also, these are the disputed claims, boss. Okay, so far I have attended, and tomorrow onwards you have to handle that disputed claims also. How many admitted? How many rejected? That also I have to told or inform to my successor and security interest. And for all the claims, what are the securities issued by the company, whether it is a land or building or any corporate guarantee or the director's guarantee, that is a personal guarantor to corporate debtor, that also I have to inform to my successor and update claim status also. So this claim status also I have to update to my successor, that is a new RP, or in case of a CIRP failed, I have to hand over them to the liquidator. Assets and securities, whatever the immovable properties are there. Boss, this is the building, this is the company building, that is the open land, belongs to the company, that is the stores department, like that. Whatever the immovable properties, whether it is a plant and machinery or land and buildings, all these things I have to inform to my successor. Why? For smooth sailing of the CIRP by my successor, who is reporting as a new RP instead of me. Plant and machinery, and particularly vehicles. How many vehicles are there in the company? That also I have to inform. Okay, that is for transport vehicles, 20 are there. For employees, buses are there, 20 are there. Or for directors or the key managerial persons, some cars are there. And whatever inventory is there, as per stores ledger, that is also. And the furnitures and the fixed register also, I have to hand it over to my successor. And the intellectual properties, IPRs, if at all it is a pharma company, whatever the intellectual property rights are there, that also I have to hand over. Not only that one, if at all the company long-term investments are there, that is not matured, and still during CIRP, if at all it is continuing, that also I have to inform. and whatever the credit sales are there, that is called bills receivable. How many bills receivable are there, and what are the debtors ledger, and what is the credit policy guidelines of the company, and how many days, all these things I have to hand it over to my successor. Security deposits to get some connectivities, or to get electricity. Security deposits the company is paying. That also I have to hand it over. And the insurance claims. If at all any insurance claims are pending with the insurance companies on account of theft, on account of fire that was happened in the company, that also I have to hand it over to my successor. And security and custody, physical verification of reports, SS tagging reports, CCTV arrangements, asset tagging reports also, geotagging. If it has some geotagging is there, you have to tell these places our assets are located. Security agency contracts. Suppose you take for example to provide the security for stocks, companies' property, and branches also. Any security arrangements are there with the security agencies. That also warehouse records. Whenever the company is preserving the final goods, that also warehouse or records. If at all the company is preserved their stocks, particularly cold storage units and other things, that also I have to hand over stock audit reports. If at all the company is during his tenure, if at all any stock audits are completed, that reports are also I have to hand over to the new resolution professional or liquidator. Employee and HR matters. And because here, why I should tell all these things means this is 180 days. And to acquire this information, nearly it took nearly 30 to 40 days for you. Again, from this person take 40 days, 180 days is not sufficient. 180 days is not sufficient. That's why whatever with regard to information, with regard to that particular CIRP company who is going to the handling by you, end to end, you inform to your successor. Once the handing over process is over, the next day onwards, he will act as if like you. Otherwise, the communication gaps may result in delay of the CIRP. That's why some judicial pronouncements are also there. In one company, CIRP, the handing over and the taking over process, 40 days. 40 days. Then the successor requested the NCLT. 40 days completed. So that's why CIRP to be extended after 180 means to 20 days. This 40 days to be deducted and 40 days to be extended. NCLT agreed for that. This is also judicial pronouncement. So here the employees HR matters also. That you have to inform to your success. For all these things, the success rate of CIRP to be improved. That is the main and sole objective of handing over and taking over process. HR information, employee master record. Today, how many people are working in the company? What are their names? What are their designation? Which department they are working? Their payroll records, how much salary? Their pending salaries, how long the company, because it is a going concern. And during CIRP, even though it is a CIRP cost, we have to give first preference. And the earlier person knows about all these things, but a new person may not have Then if at all he is not informed to that particular prospective resolution applicant, then they may skip this one also. All these things you have to inform to your prospective resolution applicant also. PF and ESI complaints, how many months it was completed, how long it is pending, gratuity liabilities, how many people are retired, and why are they, how much amount to be paid for gratuity, that also you have to inform. Employment contracts and labor disputes, if any, retrenchment issues, if any, union matters pending, if any, attendance systems, particularly for labor, all these things you have to hand over to your successor. To your successor. Statutory compliance, how many GST returns filed, how many to be filed, income tax returns up to what date you have filed, to be filed how many, TDS complaints up to which month it was completed, to be completed, ROC filings up to which month you have completed, from there which date they have to complete, secretarial compliances, that also you have to inform. Labor law compliance also you have to inform to your next successor. Not only that one, environmental compliances. What is the water or waste management or air pollution, water pollution compliances and factory compliances. So under Factories Act, whether all security measures are taken or not, that also. Professional tax. Once the company is working and the employees' salaries are paid, they have to recover professional tax and they have to pay to the government also. EPF, Employees Provident Fund, ESI, Employee to State Insurance also, the compliance, that files also to be handed over to the next person. Pending matters, notices received, how many notices are received during your tenure, assessment proceedings with regard to various taxes. During your tenure, how many penalties are imposed? What is their status? Interest liabilities, that also. Appeals are pending, how many appeals are pending, that also you have to inform. And information technology. So here you have to hand over end to end. You are relieving from your duties, and in your place, the IRP place, RP recruited, or if at all RP, your RP is replaced with a new RP, and information technology related also you have to hand over to your successor. The email access, whatever the email you are accessing, that password and user ID, you have to give. Domain control to access the system. What are the domain controls and what is their powers and all these things. One example I am quoting here. For purchase requisition issued by the purchase department, the finance department, they will pay the amount, up to what amount, and all these things. Domain, server access. Normally, the server access will be given to higher officials. Otherwise, everybody access the server, means data corruption and all these things are there. And ERP credentials, entrepreneur resource planning credentials. If the company is having ERP, that also. Cloud accesses, cloud computing, that also. So cloud is located elsewhere, but to access your records of the cloud, what are the credentials? And software licenses, whether it is an operating system or salary package or ERP software, whatever it is there, the cloud access and software licenses to be very renewed, whether it is operating all these things, backup systems, whether it is in tapes or pen drive or particularly the memory cards and cyber security protocols. What is this? Because your systems ought to be your systems ought to be protected. What are the protocols you have adopted? Password management, data recovery systems, all these things you have to tell to your successor. Contract and commercial matters, whatever the customer contacts are there, that you have to tell to your customer. Vendor agreement, who is supplying us raw materials? What is the agreement with regard to discount and other things? Lease agreement. The company may hire the particular office premises or the factories on a leased basis. The lease agreements you have to hand over. Once these are, if you handle a medium-sized company and the company is in going concern, definitely all these things will happen. And if at all you have not hand over, then it will take a minimum 40 days to understand, to acquire all the information. Still, some information gaps may be there. And a joint venture agreement, if at all it is there, that also franchise agreements. If the company is given franchise agreement, what is the sales, how much commission they have to pay, and the loan agreements. Whatever the various types of loans that are enjoyed by the company, the Xerox copies are available with the company. That also supply agreement, service contracts, and insurance agreements, etc. Commercial status, ongoing projects, how many? Particularly, this is happening in the real estate, ongoing projects, how many? Pending invoices, recoveries, disputes, contractual liabilities, etc., etc. Because here I have verified in one real estate also, even though their ongoing projects are located in 10 places, the RP is only observing or doing some financial support or whether the works are going or not in 2 projects. Remaining 8, he is not verified. He is not aware of that thing. So, if the role of the RP is a going concern, what the particularly 8 location ongoing projects. So, on account of this one, now the corporate debtor is filing a case with the NCLAT. On account of this one, we are talking about going concern. He never bother about the 8 location. Thereby, in the 8 location, the security is not placed by the RP. Thereby, whatever the steel, whatever the cement, all are stolen or theft was happened. Thereby, that a problem is arise. So here, the contractual, particularly ongoing projects are also very important. Pending invoices and recoveries, disputes, and contractual liabilities. All these things, the old RP has to hand over to new RP, that is the successor, and a transition from IRP to RP. What is a transition to IRP to RP? What are the areas to be looked into? Special considerations. The special consideration, transfer complete CIRP data records. Once you are appointed as an IRP and in your place RP was appointed, transfer complete CIRP data records. Provide a status note. You have to prepare one status note when you have reported, and what areas you have looked into, and what are the actions you have initiated. All these things, what is the present status, all these things. Explain actions taken. How many actions you have taken? Hand over the claims verification status. Being a particular, the IRP, he will do some work, particularly the claims status, and remaining whatever the balance is there, that balance is to be completed by the RP. Provide access, the transfer of custody of records, whatever the records are there, that is under his custody, that is to be transmitted, and provide access credentials. Access credentials. That also they have to provide. RP responsibilities. What are the RP responsibilities? Verify the records. Review the CIRP times. The IRP to RP. The new RP. What is his responsibilities? Simply the papers, whatever the handing over by the IRP, not only that one, he has to raise some question. Sir, what is this one? What is the status of that one? Or he should also involve simply taking over the documents, taking over the information is not correct. Sometimes proactively, the new person also raises some questions. Sir, what is the present status of the valuation? If at all the IRP is not revealed that information, proactively the RP has to reveal, they ask the question, verify the records, CARP timelines, reconcile claims. How many claims are there? How many are admitted? How many are rejected? What is the total claims as per the books of record? He also to be verified. Simply whatever the records he has given, that is not suffice for him. Verification of bank balances. Even though he is giving some records, he on his own, he has to verify, he has to visit to the bank, how many loans they are availing, and what is the current status. If they are operating escrow account, what is the current status? If at all the company is operating current account, what is the status? Review pending actions. Whatever the pending actions are there, why it is delayed? Suppose some complaints are there. Why the complaints? What is the current status? And communicate with the stakeholders also. So once the going person, he will inform to the stakeholders. The new incumbency, the new person also inform to the stakeholders. Suppose I am IRP. I am handing over all the papers to RP. My responsibility is I have to inform to the stakeholders. And the new person also, once he is taken over, then he is to inform to the stakeholders that today onwards, I am handling the case or like that. And the important risks are this, missing claims. So that's why being in IRP or RP, daily you have to maintain the diary. Most of the people, the habit is disconnected. And what write it on the book, okay, one notebook daily with regard to that particular company. What are the areas you are looking to, and what are the areas completed? Delay in COC activities. Why the delay was happened? Once the handing over, taking over is not properly happened, delay in COC activities, lack of updated records, non-transfer of the digital access. And if at all the earlier RP is not informed about the user ID or password or server access, all these things, thereby delay will happen. To avoid that one, whoever is leaving the organization, they have to inform to their successor permanently. transition from RP to RP. Transition from RP to RP. Sometimes the COC may not like the existing RP, or sometimes the adjudicating authority may not like the existing RP. On account of efficiency levels. Efficiency levels. Some are doing fast. Some are some delay may be there. And if at all delayed, that is not suitable for IRP or RP. Because the time schedule is there, timelines are there. That model timelines I have to adhere. Second one is here the managing time planning is also required, and disputes are inevitable. Every dispute we should not brought to the notice of the COC. At our level, we have to resolve that one. If at all disputes are brought to the notice of a COC, then the role of the RPI is not required. Suppose you take, for example, management support is not there. Simply, as per regulation, you can escalate the issue to whom? To your this one, particularly NCLT. Sir, the management is not giving that record. He is not supporting for each and everything. If at all you escalate to NCLT, then that is not a professional skill. At your level, whatever the best is there, first you have to complete. In case some issues are not resolved, serious nature, those only you have to escalate. Not all. Transition from RP to RP. Replacement by COC. Resignation. Health reason. Conflict of interest. NCLT directions. These are the RP to RP changes. Replacement by COC. No. You are delayed and you are not having good grip or command on this one. Resignation. The resignation is also one of the reasons. Recently, one of my friend is having some health issues. That's why he resigned. And he is having 4 or 3 CARP cases like that. And he wrote one letter to COC also. So on account of this one, please replace me with other person or health reason or conflict of interest. And sometimes the COC are adamant and they are not listening whatever the IRP is there or RP is there. So in that particular scenario also, this type of problems will arise. So to avoid that one, some of the people, what they are doing is what they are doing is they are leaving they are transferring that particulars to others and requesting the NCLT or COC like that. Important issues, pending resolution plans. If at all resolution plans are pending, then litigation continuity or confidential obligation or preservation of the VDR data pending COC decision, time-bound process continuation. So once he left the organization or left that assignment of RP in CARP, then the successor should have some knowledge. Otherwise, pending resolution plans may be there. Litigations are continuing. Confidentiality obligations are also there, and preservation of VDR data is also there. Pending COC decision and a time-bound process continuation. All these things are there. Key document, detailed status. Once you are reported as a RP, from the day 1 till you have submitted the resignation date, whatever the events that are happened, whatever the documents that are procured, all are to be properly handed over by taking the acknowledgement. So that's why for that purpose, my suggestion is prepare a diary. For each CIRP, one book, notebook, 200 pages. Whatever daily you are handling, date, time. If you write on the book and whatever the documents you have procured, write it on the book. And these papers in a sequence manner, date wise, time wise, file it in box file. Then this diary gives good results. Within no time, you can hand over the total process to the new RP or liquidator. So the detailed status report, CIRP timeline tracker, pending task register, resolution applicant communication, and confidentiality undertaking. So the detailed status report you have to prepare. You have to adhere the TO, COs, CIRP timelines. Pending task register, you have to maintain what are the pending and a new incumbent and a resolution applicant communication. You have to inform to the resolution applicant also that I have taken over. I will continue the same, and whatever the support is required from your side, that is required. Like that, if you communicate through them, then good things will happen. Confidentiality undertaking. Transition to RP to liquidator. So IRP to RP, RP to RP, RP to liquidator. So this you have to hand over properly. Most critical transition this is. This is one of the most important transition because CIRP ends. Liquidation begins. Asset realization starts. Investigation responsibilities increase. And shareholder distribution mechanism changes. So here the liquidator should be understand what was happened in CIRP. What are the various assets? Why CIRP is failed? And whatever the puff transactions are there, all you should know. And day one, you should act as a old person. Old means the earlier person, like that. Documents are to be handed over. Who? The RP. To whom? The liquidator. Final COC resolution. Whatever the COC resolutions are there, that is to be handed over to the liquidator. Approved and non-approved plans. Whatever the approved or non-approved plans are there, that is also to be handed over to the liquidator. Compliance certificates. Whatever the compliance certificates are there, that is to be handed over by the RP to liquidator. NCLT liquidation order, that is also to be liquidator. Liquidation commencement date details. So all these things he has to inform to the new liquidator with regard to assets, asset memoranda. Asset memoranda. The asset memoranda to be handed over to the liquidator by the RP. Because whatever the assets are there, all assets are to be properly handed over to valuation reports. Whatever the valuation reports are there, that is also to be handed over by RP to the liquidator. And security details by the RP to the liquidator. Encumbrance records by the RP to liquidator. Inventory reports by the RP to the liquidator. and physical position of the records. So whenever the CIRP failed and RP was appointed, the RP has to hand over all these records or reports to the liquidator also. Recovery and avoidance matter. Whatever the puff transactions are there, if recoveries are happened, that also to be communicated by the RP to the liquidator, while the preferential or undervalued or fraudulent or extorted. And whenever the RP has filed some suits against these preferential or undervalue or fraudulent or extorted, that communication also to be informed to the liquidator. Hence, in view of all these things, whatever I told earlier, transition between the IP under IBC involves a strict statutory timelines. If at all you delay, the total time delay. So even regulations also, the IBBA has to mention once the transition is there, how many days that is max to max. It depends upon if the balance sheet size is this much cross, the transition is 2 days. If that is across 3 days or 4 days, like that, regulations should also be included, device. But so far, to my knowledge is concerned, that was not happened. So once that otherwise everybody will take their own sweet time. Own sweet time. The transition period to be spelled out in the regulation. So for this company, the total the total size of the balance sheet, if this balance sheet size is this much, on liquidation commencement date, this is taking over handing over time, 2 days or 3 days, or this much size, 4 days, this much size, 7 days, like that. Then automatically the judiciary authority also, they will insist they insist to this one. So insist to this one. That's why this transition period is very important. Otherwise, if at all, sometimes the takeover and handing over people, particularly on their own, boss, I will be here by up to month end. I will hand over. 40 days means both the amounts are to be paid. So the person who is handing over and taking over, both the honorariums are paid means then it is a burden to the CIRP cost. So in that particular case also, particularly I told about, so even though the company is small, but they have taken 40 days, which is wrong. So the adjudicating authority also trimmed that one. Why 40 days? Why not 10 days? What is documents that are there? What is the volume of transaction? So instead of that, based on the balance sheet size of the company as on date, CIRP commencement date, you have to tell. The regulations also clearly spelled out 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or 5 days, depending upon the size of the company. These shifts ensure seamless corporate data management across IRP, RP, and liquidator phases. So whatever the CD's management are 3 stages are there. First is IRP. Some companies or COCs, they will continue the IRP as an RP. No problem. This situation will not arise. And sometimes if the RP is not functioning well, they will replace RP with a new RP. And if the resolutions are not happened, then the person, particularly the new person, the CARP is not happened, then it goes to the liquidation. Again, the RP has to hand over to the liquidator. IRP to RP transition. This transition makes a shift from temporary management phase to comprehensive resolution of CARP and statutory timelines. The IRP tenure is limited to 40 to 30 days or like that. And a COC decision. In the first meeting of the COC, which must be held within 7 days of the COC constitution, that is 14 days, the Kratos decided vote greater than 66% of the voting selection option. The COC may either resolve to appoint IRP as an RP or resolve to replace IRP and appoint the new IP or RP. NCLT approval. The COC forward the chosen IP's name to the NCLT. NCLT then appoints. Continuity mandate. If the appointment is delayed, the IRP is legally authorized to continue deemed RP starting from 40th day of the insolvency commencement date to the officially confirmed RP to RP transition. This involves replacing the existing and confirmed resolution midway through the resolution plan. Grounds for replacement is COC may seek replace RP if they are dissatisfied with the performance or if RP faces unforeseen circumstances. Furthermore, the IBBA may recommend replacement. Voting threshold for this also greater than 66%. Procedure. The COC comes convince the meeting to vote the replacement. The name of the proposed new RP must be provided to the NCLT. The current RP must provide a written consent from the proposed IP. NCLT formally approves this appointment. Handover. The outgoing RP must fully cooperate. That is very important. Today, that is not happening. They are not fully cooperate with the newly appointed RP and hand over all the records, the claims, the list, the management details to ensure business continuity. So, if at all they are busy with handing over and taking over, then the company is a going concern. Who will look after the company? If these two people, going and income, the outgoing and incoming people, if they are busy with the transition, that is handing over and taking over, who will look after this? Who will look after this one? That is the important one. So that's why the full cooperation is very much required and handing over to be completed in a structured manner. If at all the planning is there, definitely handing over is not a problem. Before handing over, if day one onwards, the IRP or RP, if they are preserving the records, minutes, and all these things in a structured manner by preparing one diary of events, then transition problems will not arise. RP to liquidator, transition. If a CARP fails to yield a successful resolution plan or COC decide to liquidate the suit, the process transition to liquidation step. Statutory continuation. Under section 34(1) of IBC, the incumbent RP continue to act as a liquidator, subject to written consent. And exceptions for replacement. RP will not act as a liquidator only under 3 specific conditions. The resolution plan submitted by RP was rejected for failing to meet the statute requirements. IBPA recommend replacing RP for hello. RP fails. Sir, RP fails to submit the written consent to act as a liquidator. The appointment and duties. The incumbent RP is replaced. The adjudicating authority appoints a new liquidator from the IBPA panel. All these things are section 25 of IBC. These transition procedures under IBC ensures a seamless handover between IP to maintain time-bound CIRP. That is very important. So here, my suggestion is handing over and taking over is not a difficult task. Subject to from the day one onwards. If at all the time management, planning and documentation storage and what are the events that are occurred from day one. If at all you document it by way of diary or other paper, simply that a book is sufficient along with the documents. Whenever any document procured by you, what is the location of that particular document? Whether it is put it in cupboard or elsewhere, and whatever this one is there, particularly in the computer system, you mention, particularly in the diary also. Suppose the as per financial statements, that is a balance sheet, buildings, 100 crores are there. This 100 crores located in the same premises, that is a big building. And whatever the location is there, take the location and print out on a paper. So the location details also. So daily, once you completed on daily, handing over is not a problem. Some other people, they don't do any documents. They don't do filing. They don't do the organizing the papers. They wise. Particularly if at all I am in that particular seat, daily whatever the documents are originated in a box file, in a date manner, in what are the documents I have obtained, I will mention in the register also. And I will give the serial number to these papers. So the same serial number I will mention in the register. Then once that register is verified by me, every document, what is the location, whether it is a box file 1 or box file 2 or box file 3, all these things, if at all I mentioned in the register, retrieval is easy. Not only that one, tomorrow, if at all you are going to hand over along with the register and the documents and you take acknowledgement, then timing, even 3 days is also high time. Only 2 days is more than sufficient. That is possible. 1 day, complete the behavior of the staff, the behavior of that particular the COC, how the NCLT is viewing, and what are the litigations and all these things. 1 day handing over the documents. 3rd day also, if you want, you can take and brief them in a proper way. Then everything will be completed in a smooth sailing manner. So that's why the transition management skills are also the transition management not on the transition day. That is to be started from day one onwards. Day one onwards. And if at all I made the documents or resolution, whatever the minutes, whatever the particular resolutions that are happened in the COC, if at all I filed in such a manner, in a box file, day wise, then it won't take much time. It won't take much time. So that's why it is an art as well as science also. Science means I have to follow the IBC, the regulations, code, etc. Art means how I am organizing the document storage, how I am organizing the drafting of the various events that are happened on day wise, and the storage of the various document locations also. If at all I mapped properly in a paper, then it is very, 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 very easy to handle the CARP cases or liquidation cases. This is called transition management. So in the coming days, on account of the particular amendments, if a CARP is failed, then you are not eligible to act as a resolution, to act as a liquidator for the same company. The new person will report. Once a new person is reported, you have to hand over. There is no other way. For that, the preparedness is very much required. The preparedness is nothing but day one onwards. When you reported at the company after take over the particular the order from NCLT, all documents, all meetings are properly organized, documented, storage, retrieval, whether it is a physical or electronic goods. This is in brief about what I wish to tell. Any doubts are there, sir? Any
No,
doubt?
sir. No, sir. It's a detailed clarification. Thank you.
Others, sir? Others?
Yes, sir.
Very
Okay.
clear, I
One,
think.
Sir, tell me, sir.
sir, one doubt.
Tell
If
me.
can there be a situation where there is no handover takeover? For example, in case of death or something.
Sir, suppose take for example, the CIRP is successful, then the situation will not arise.
Correct.
Second one, during CIRP, the corporator compromised with the financial creditor. With a 90% voting right, the case was withdrawn by financial creditor. Then the situation is not arise. Next, sir.
No, my question was if there is no handover takeover at all. For example, the earlier RP or ARP, whoever, by unfortunate death or something happens, then NCLT appoints someone fresh. Then what is the best way to go forward? Of course, it's unfortunate. There is no handover takeover. Then is it good if the incoming person just prepares a report
sir,
based on
correct. As you told,
whatever
correctly.
and
Correct.
then submits it to COC and NCLT updates.
Correct.
NCLT. Is that a good way to go forward, sir? Or what
Correct.
do you feel?
Sir, at that time, particularly whoever is the key managerial
Incumbent.
persons in that particular company,
Mm.
the adjudicating authority may direct,
Mm.
and sometimes, okay, you go there, whatever the deficiencies are there, please brought to our notice, like that the adjudicating authority will give. Suppose the same situation is happening in the normal organizations also. Suppose one branch manager transferred and a new incumbent is there and he suddenly died. He is not handed over. Means the regional manager will tell, boss, you please verify whatever the deficiencies are there. You please provide the checklist to me.
I
Checklist.
also face, sir, in the employment. Earlier person was sacked. He left. Then I joined, I took over actually. Of course, there were challenges.
That is there, sir. That
is
there also
those things do happen.
they will ask, you go there, verify, and whatever the within 1 week, whatever the deficiencies are there, you provide that list to us. Then we will give suitable directions in this case. In this case,
have you seen such cases, sir? That has happened?
No, sir. No.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for a very detailed explanation. Very good, sir.
Share the
Very
PPT,
enlightening.
sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you to all.
Share the PPT, sir. Okay.
PPT already sent, sir.
Okay, sir.
They will circulate.
Okay.
So thank you to all
Thank you,
sirs
sir.
and madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Now I am closing.
Sure, sir.